I throw in some comparative examples in South Africa and in Sri Lanka, but let's go to the Nakab. I have about 6 more minutes. This is Abu Tlul. This is what it looks on the ground. Beersheba is surrounded by possibly 100 to 120 such towns and villages, ranging between 500 to 5,000 people, lacking all services because they live on, most of them, on the ancestors' land, and the state wants them to urbanize into planned, ghettoized towns. This is a typical example, middle-class area of Beersheba that decided to build a neighborhood. On the right, you see, Omer, and when you go to get the brochure where you buy a house, the streets are actually drawn over the Arab village there, right? And at the moment, there is a real battle there with violence and fences and et cetera, as they are supposed to make way and move to the new suburbs. This was recent elections for the local governments, and one of the candidates for the Omer mayorship put it on big signs on the road. I have the solution for evacuating the Tarabin. This is the name of these people. You know, this was an election campaigning thing. Who is better at ethnic cleansing? And this is official, right? By the way, he lost the election because the other guy was actually better, was much more right-wing. He's a Lieberman man that won the election. You see the daily performance of the state. We have in the Negev something between 50 to 60,000 houses that are considered illegal. Nothing can resolve it in terms of house demolition, but the state continues to do it. It's very violent. Everybody been to this kind of site when the bulldozers come, etc. American bulldozers, by the way. And we actually document it. You see there is, in the last 8 years, there is 604 house demolitions. Of course, as I said, compared to 50 to 55,000, it's just a drop on the ocean, but it's a performance of state violence that keep people at bay in terms of their rights and the ability to maintain a life. I will, because of lack of time, I will look at 2 or 3 other things. The new settlements in the Negev at the same time, and this is what the point that I was making yesterday, one should never look at just one side of the equation, because the oppression of the Palestinians is always premised on some other movement, and it's usually Jewish settlement. So there is, like the Mitzpim in the Galilee, Gabi, there is now single-family farms in the Negev. This is the ongoing project. It's middle-class people that come to have the sort of a organic farm, etc., and they get land from the state. And in those, each of these blue circles is about 7 or 8 in each one of them. Overall, is about 80 such farms built on land that is claimed by the Bedouins. So there is ongoing Jewish settlement in this area. And this map is very, very important. And in the last 2 years, we've had incredibly important commissions, international and Israeli commissions, about the land issue, which is the heart of it. And this is a map that we did about all the land claims of the Bedouins. And there's about 1.5 million dunams that the Bedouins claim, and it's still unresolved, even though the state, most of it declared it state land. The Bedouins haven't given up the struggle on this really Palestinian, pre-Nakba Palestinian land. And again, just to show you the thing. At the same time, compared to what I show you, this is Beersheba, quite a modern, quite a nice city, really. I mean, not great, but nice. And this is one of the planned towns for the Bedouins, where the state is trying to make the Bedouins move to these towns. There's 7 such towns. This is Lakia. And it looks better. It's actually quite tempting for some people. But of course, the deal is that you give up your land. So actually, the state recognizes the unrecognized land ownership in one instant when you give it up. Right? And then you get a block of land there. And this is one practice but that stopped. I mean, from the 1970s, this about stopped. And most of the Palestinians that moved to these towns are landless Palestinians. There's some others. But the majority of it lives still in those kind of conditions. Okay. And I wanted to go to, I have very little time, so I'll just give you one of the quotes of one of the leaders of the villages, Hassan Abu Quider. They cannot swallow us, but cannot vomit either. They need our arms. Don't know why I put arms. I don't think it's arms. They need, must be a mistake, but want our land. Arms, he means, okay, for the labor, yeah, that's right, yeah. translation, lost in translation. They want us to modernize, but not integrate. They want us to live like the shadow. And this, I would say, emblematic for the whole of Palestine. Okay? This is why the Bedouin perspective is very important, because what is tried there, this sort of semi-military, supposedly civil society, but nonetheless using this oppression, is the condition of Palestine, which I think is creeping apartheid. And I would like to relate to the discussion yesterday about needing to find a new paradigm, a new vision to mobilize the struggle. And I think with all my personal support, of course, of one state, because, you know, for non-nationalist people, the state is just an instrument for people's life and people's betterment. I cannot see that mobilizing people in a way that an anti-apartheid struggle would. An anti-apartheid struggle would have various possible ends, you know. I support a federation or confederation, but at the moment, I think, together with Lisa Hajar, the struggle is more against than for. That is, we must dismantle this system of oppression. And an anti-apartheid struggle has a legal basis. There is a convention against the crime of apartheid. It can rally international support. Of course, with a non-violent struggle, which is another facet that is very important, the Bedouins showed how non-violent struggle can actually have impact in the long term. And also rallying Israelis, which is critically important. And as Nadim Rouhana said yesterday, most people would not like to be associated with living in an apartheid regime. Maybe half of the Jews do, but half don't. And this could be a new flag around which a struggle for the reintegration, liberation of Palestine continue.